Hey guys, here we have is the epilogue. Let's see exactly what Zack has learned after all that trauma, after all that's happened. Let's see what his final say is.
I am Zachary, and at the time I write this, it has been 3 weeks since the
3
fateful night when I
weeks?
played the NES Godzilla game. Going back to that night, to immediately after I turned off the NES, once I was able to start walking around again, the first thing I did was unplug the NES, take out the cartridge, and put them in separate sock drawers.
Sock
I
drawers, huh?
looked over at the computer. All the screenshots you've seen in the story were saved. I backed up all
Screenshots.
the images on a flash drive before I turned the
Talk
computer
about
off,
misread.
just in case.
Hmm.
After that, I hit the bed and instantly passed out.
Yeah.
It was not a restful sleep, but one of complete exhaustion. It
Mm-hmm.
felt like no time had passed before I awoke again. And what a night that was. The first thought I
Yeah.
recalled coming to mind was, what the hell happened last night?
Yeah, the
I thought
face
about it
just
for a
says,
short while,
what the heck
until it
did I just
occurred to me to
witness?
contact the person I got the game from to begin with. Billy.
Hmm.
So I called him up and I told him to just come over to my apartment, which he did. And I showed him the screenshots and gave him a very basic summary of what had happened. At first he thought I was pulling a joke on him, but he
Yeah.
soon realized this was not the case. Once it hit him that this was real, he was speechless.
Yep.
He made it clear that he had absolutely not tampered with the game and had no idea about any of this.
Plus, he wouldn't really hurt
So
you,
then the
man.
obvious question was asked to Billy. Where did you get it from?
Yeah, that's a
I got
question.
the simple answer of another friend of mine that I trade games with.
I knew this
He
guy who
assured
knew
me
this
that
guy
this
who
was
knew
a
this guy who knew
trustworthy
this guy
person
who knew
and
this
that
guy
he
who
had
knew this
never
guy who
had
knew this
any
guy who
issues with
knew this
games we
guy
got
who knew
from
this
him
guy's
before.
cousin.
So
Yeah.
then Billy called him. But when we told this guy the story, he was as shocked and surprised as anyone,
Yup.
except he abruptly hung up on us.
Oh.
This clearly was going nowhere. Before Billy left that day, he asked me if I wanted him to take the cartridge and dispose of it. I sharply declined. He asked how I could possibly still want to keep the thing. I told him that I needed time to think it over, and that was that.
Just get rid of the thing.
Billy and I
Destroy
haven't talked
it.
much
Get rid
since.
of it. Anything.
Even though I've told him that this isn't the case, I get the impression that Billy thinks what happened with the game is his fault. After he left that day, I did a lot of thinking. It was very hard for me to do anything else, really. I couldn't stop thinking about the game. There were so many questions left unanswered. What was Red? Was Melissa really in the game? How did she get in there? Why
Red's
did all
obviously
this
a
happen
demon.
with this game? But the one question that kept me up for many nights was, Red said he had known me for a long time.
I've known you
But
for a
how?
long time, Zachary.
Ever since then, I can't shake this feeling of being watched. The game makes
Okay.
me ask myself questions about death and reality in ways that I never wanted to think about. I'm not too sure of anything anymore. Constantly thinking about it soon began to have a negative impact on my life. I just didn't care about anything else at this point. By comparison, all the other day-to-day activities seemed utterly pointless. I eventually decided that I had to choose between one of two things. Try to play the game again,
What?
or destroy it. I tried several times to convince myself to try the former, but I never got farther than plugging the NES back up.
Seriously.
Just
I don't think
touching
Red
the
would want to
cartridge
pretty
makes me
much
remember
see you
all the
again,
pain I felt
or
during the fight with Red.
if you were to try to do
I
that,
wondered
he'd
if
be like,
playing the
"Welcome
game again
back,
myself
you
would
worm.
cause something terrible
Ready for
to happen.
round 2?"
I didn't know anything about how this game worked.
And
it
Red
was
is way
too
more
risky.
intimidating than
I wasn't sure I could
Sonic.exe
stand another round of the
and
game
Jeff the
anyway.
Killer.
So then it was time for the other option.
Hmm?
Wanting to get some fresh air, I took the game with me and drove to the lake, planning to throw it in. I got up to the lake with the cartridge in my hands, and I looked down at it. And then I thought of Melissa.
Huh?
What if what I had experienced in the game was indeed genuine? Doing what I did might have been the only way to save her from endless torture.
Ooh.
In a way, this warped game might have saved her soul. Damn it. Once that thought came into my head, I knew that I wouldn't be able to destroy it. So I just sat down on the beach, gazing at the lake for about an hour,
Makes you question where he's
until I
living,
decided on a
exactly.
third option: selling the game on eBay. It may be selfish, but I
Why?
promise you that it has nothing to do with money. I don't care how much or little I get paid for this game. Believe me. It's selfish because I don't want the responsibility of owning this cartridge anymore.
Yeah, that'd
I
be
cannot
anyone's.
dwell on this forever, and the only way I can deal with this is by putting the game out of my life. So this brings me to the main reason I created a summary of these events. First is to record the details while I can remember them. And second is that whoever bids on this game knows what they're getting into. I can't guarantee the safety of anyone else who plays the game, or that anything will happen at all. But to the new owner of this game, you remember this: be careful. And if you feel as if the game is literally messing with your mind, shut the damn thing off!
Okay, no need to yell. Well, that was interesting. But, yeah. So, yeah, that's it. I'm not gonna show the credits because there's no music, and I don't want to bore you guys. Well, all I could practically say is that this was definitely a ride, I tell ya. Of all insanities, some hilarious, some nonsense, some really graphical and disturbing. And, well, all I can practically say is, hey, Cool 64, if you're watching this, feel free to say what your thoughts on this reaction series went. Oh, and Tyrex, if you're practically watching this too, I hope you enjoyed it as well. Before I go, I believe someone who basically started this journey deserves to get a final say before we stop. I'll practically get him. Yo, Riala, you're summoned here right now. Why, hello there, everyone. It is I, your favorite nightmare, Riala. And I am here to say congratulations into making it to the very end. You actually surprised me. Not many would be willing to actually do this. But your curiosity and your intense courage had finally managed to make it through. And, well, I had a bit of a conversation with the Spider Beast, and let's just say he never thought that a mere mortals or anyone with sanity to make it this far. Well, guess you can say life is strange, and that not humans just don't make much sense to him. Then again, are they ever? Anyways, I do hope you all enjoyed this wondrous time. This is Riella, and I do hope that to be the host for another kind of creepy story. This is Riella the Nightmare in here, and I bid you all adieu.